I'm Shirley O'Brien, and I'd like to tell you my story. It begins after a wonderful career at the University of Arizona in Tucson. I was administrator and a professor, and 28 years. We had just retired. We had a motorhome, and we played Roland digital accordions. And we traveled in the motorhome to the Pacific Northwest, where we'd play on stage at wonderful ethnic festivals. Well, I had a real surprise when I returned to Tucson one fall, and I had my annual wellness exam, and they said, your blood values are below normal. You need to see an oncologist. So I had a bone marrow biopsy and a diagnosis of MDS, myelodysplasia syndrome. So the Vidasa was the therapy at that time, and it was 7 days of infusion every 28 days. We decided right then that we'd not stop our music. We'd keep going. And so we went out and performed in between infusions. I was told early on, eventually Vidasa would fail, and it did. But not until after 3.5 years, actually, which is more than most. So I had one more biopsy in the Pacific Northwest, and the oncologist said, there's a new issue. You have a mutation. It's IDH1. And that means that your disease is progressing. So there were apps that had come out at that point in time, and you could plug in the values and determine life expectancy, 4 to 6 months. And I said, well, that app, it's broken. There's something wrong with it. But coming back to the University of Arizona Cancer Center a month later, it was confirmed. And they said, you need a clinical trial, and you need it now. So I spent many wee hours of the morning on clinicaltrials.gov, and I was very frustrated. It was just like trying to find a needle in a haystack. And so I reached out to AAMDS in Washington, D.C., and I said, I'm desperate, I'm dying, I need help. And they said, give us 24 hours. And they sent back 5 links. The third one down, Dr. Courtney DiNardo, MD Anderson, Houston. And I applied to become a new patient. And Dr. D called me one night and said, I'd like to invite you to come for some tests. So we flew out. And after the tests, she said, now, if you join the trial, you're going to have to be here for a couple of months so that we can follow you. I said, oh, can't do that. We've got musical responsibilities. And my spouse immediately said, we'll come. We have a motorhome, we'll come. So we went back to Tucson, and the musical responsibilities we'll give you 30 minutes of live holiday music for a donation to the food bank. And other times we had raised $3,000-4,000. I had 10 parties booked, and then I had 10 parties canceled. We packed the motorhome. We headed out on I-10, 1,300 miles east, and somewhere between Tucson and Houston, my MDS transformed to AML. I don't know, maybe somewhere around El Paso. Who knows? We landed at a motorhome park, and Dr. D said many of her patients had been staying there, and it was a great suggestion. And on December 23rd, 2015, at 1:30 in the afternoon, I took my first 2 Tibsovo pills. And it just seemed like it was such an incredible moment. It was just so important. I had to document it. And I wanted to take a selfie, but I didn't know how. The young text shows me. Now, I have enjoyed 63 cycles. And this December 23rd, just a few weeks from now, At 1:30 in the afternoon, I will celebrate 5 years of traveling, playing music, not so much now with COVID, and enjoying a full life. And every morning when I take these 2 Tibsovo pills, I thank God, I thank the scientists that developed targeted therapy, and I thank Dr. Courtney DiNardo, who at the very beginning said, Shirley, you're in the right place at the right time with the right mutation. And she was right. Thank you, Dr. D. You saved my life.